and AI for economic forecasting and policy making from China to the global. And my name is Pagon Gatchalee, and now I hold for the PhD in information technology, and now I am lecturer at the Department of Marketing, Chiang Mai University in Thailand. Okay. And for my profile, let me introduce a little bit about me. Okay, I can speak Thai also because it's my native, and I can also for the bit for English and Chinese. And I hold for the PhD in the information technology and digital innovation, and I have published for the paper related for the AI and also for the machine learning in the business and the marketing. Okay, here are my published paper. Okay, and for today, I would like to share about for the AI and big data, how to use them for economic policy making, and this is for a roadmap for our discussion. At first, I will introduction why the topic matter now, and I will introduce for the foundation big data alone and the engine AI capability, and then I will share you about for the how AI and big data using ad application for economic forecasting, and then I will show you for data driven governance for policy making, and I use for the China ad for the case study for today, and from China to global perspective ad for the border application. And we will discuss about for the opportunity and also for challenge. And then I will conclude. Okay. At first, why now for the big data and AI in economics? Because modern economy are more connected than ever, making organized methods struggle to keep up. It means nowadays it's a more connected world. And data explosion. We are creating massive amount of digital data every day, from online shopping to social media posts. As we also make the data now, because we are meeting online and we record the clip, right? So it can be for the evidence for the data explosion every second, every minute. And then decision maker want real-time insights, not quarterly report that a month later, because I already mentioned about for the data explosion. So it's need for speed and detail for making the insight analysis. And then it's a faster change. Economic shock happen quickly and government need to respond fast. And countries using these tools are getting ahead, other lists being left behind. It means if you not apply AI and big data now, so you will left behind, because it's not option anymore. It's essential to use. Okay, for the key definition, for the big data that we will discuss for today, big data, it means for the data set too large or complex for traditional data processing application. Then we will use for the machine learning and also for the AI concept to analyze for the big data. AI is meant for simulation of human intelligence process by machine, including learning, listening, and self-collection. And for the machine learning, it's for a subset of AI that enables system to learn from data without being explicitly programmed. And we can use for this concept for economic forecasting that will predict the future economic trend and indicator, for example, for the GDP and also for the inflation and also for the employment also. And then when we use economic forecasting properly, then we can make the policy from for the bet on for the big data and what we learn from the AI and machine learning predicts. Big data, I can tell you all that big data in nowadays, it is the fuel for economic insight because the volume. Big data means for the huge amount of data created every second and in the fast update every minute for some time every second, like for the stock price or social media posts and its variety. Data come in all types. It's not only for the text, it's not only for the photo, but it complex together as a variety of data and velocity. Not all data is trustworthy. So when you work with the big data for economic forecasting, you need to clean up. First, this process is mean we call pre-processing because you cannot rely on all data that you collect because in nowadays if you use all data you may know that for some bias and for some garbage in the data you need to clean up first and then you will turn the raw data into the useful insight that can help you make better decisions. This for the law of the big data and the full for economic insight. And where do we find economic big data? We can find the big data to use in the economic application from the government data, like for tax record and tax number and the unemployment stats, and also for the official data. And for the business data also, we can use for the company record, factory output, for the shipping info, and the job posting on the online world. And for digital life in nowadays, we can use for the Google search, Facebook post, online shopping for Uber life. How we adopt Google search for economic forecasting? Because when we search in the Google, it means we search from our needs, our order. So it can reflect to behavior or the demand of individual of us. For example, if you search about for the iPhone in the India or you search for the iPhone in the Thailand, you can compare together for the demand, for the interest of search for this keyword. And then you can analyze how to reflect to the market for something like that. So we can use this data for forecasting and also for the financial markets, like for the stock price, currency rate, bond price, and for example, you use from Wall Street data or something like that. But you need to concern about for the challenge if you use the big data in nowadays, especially if you use generative AI to work with big data, because you cannot rely on for the generative AI solely. Why? Because as we know, for generative AI, they collect all data from both offline and online. And how you make sure that for the all data are collected? We cannot, right? So we need to clean first. We need to evaluate first for the data. So it's a challenge for the data quality and also for the integration. And how to process it also for the challenge, because the huge amount of data need powerful computer and storage system. And also for security and governance, we need to protect the sensitive economic and personal data from breach also. And for accessibility, we need to make sure that we're making data available to relevant stakeholders while maintaining the control. This point is also less for the issue about for the transparency. Okay. And for the backbone, as I already told you about for the challenge, for the processing, for storage, the huge amount of data need powerful computer and storage system, right? And also for security, and also for accessibility, and also for how to make sure for data quality that we need the pre-processed first that will also consume amount of powerful of computer. So this is the one way that we can do. We use cloud computing and Internet of Things. So I call cloud computing and IoT can be the backbone for big data analysis, for economic forecasting. Why? The reason like this, cloud computing is scalable and a flexible infrastructure, and it's also cost-effective storage solution and handle volume and velocity of big data and essential for real-time processing. And for Internet of Things, for example, if you want to analyze real-time or consume something in the market, you can develop the IoT. You can connect for the software and hardware together. That means you can make the network of connected physical objects to analyze the real-time data. For example, real-time data from factory and the city and the market that you can analyze the insights every minute. I mean for the real time. So this is for the framework that you can use for the big data with economic application. And when you want to make a policy, you also need to concern about for the ethical consideration for the responsible data. The first one for the privacy concern, extensive collection of personal and corporate data less significant privacy question. And also for the data surveillance, potential for misuse of data for monitoring or control, especially if you use for generative AI to generate data for you. It cannot rely on that. You need to evaluate first, and also you need to concern for data ownership and access. And the most important is the transparency. The clarity on how data is collected, used, and protected can lead the problem when you make the policy. Because when you make the policy for the economic forecasting or with the big data and AI, you may face the issue how the data is collected. You need to make sure that the data has transparency enough and can accessible. And another one for the AI. AI, I call it for the brain behind the insights. The machine learning, deep learning, NLP are the algorithm and the tool of AI that we can use together for the predictive analytics. Yes, we can use generative AI to generate something, but we need to use generative AI carefully. As I already told you that we need to concern about for the ethical consideration, especially for the transparency and for data ownership. If you rely on only for generative AI to generate data or content, it may lead to concern about this issue for the data ownership and also for transparency. So you need to use generative AI carefully if you use for the policy and also for the predictive analysis. AI paradigm shift in economic analysis. How is AI identify nonlinear relationship and complex interaction model mesh, and it can handle unstructured data like for the process text, image, and other data in accessible to training methods, and it can done for the automate. I mean for the automate analysis, freeing economy for strategic interpretation, And also for the AI model continuously learn and adapt as a new data become available. So when you compare about for the traditional algorithm with AI power analysis, for example, for traditional, we all know for linear assumption, it's also had the problem about limited data size and the manual processing. When we use for the AI power, we can handle for the complex data and we can handle for the multi-model data and automate insight. Okay, and AI tool, which AI tool can use for economic work? I conclude for you all. For the regression model, it's very simple. Very simple for the machine learning. It also can consider as for the AI that we can use regression model for predicting continuous number, and we can use for the time series model for the data that change over time like stock price, and we can use for the classification model based on for the machine learning. For example, for the CNN, for LSTM, for something like that. For the we can use for the classification for the sorting economic situation, like for the recession, we add growth, and we can use AI for the agent-based model also. What is for the agent-based model? For example, for the GPT, it's called for the conversation AI agent, right? We can use this agent-based model for the testing and for complex system by modeling how people behave. And we can find the hidden pattern, what AI can spot. For example, if we want to know about unusual capital flow indicating potential crisis, we can find the hidden trend. For example, we can find for the complex pattern in the unusual capital flow, and we can find for the hidden trend for the market manipulation pattern in the trading data, and we can use AI for the early warning sign also. For example, AI can spot unusual credit card spending pattern for something like that. But the most problem and the most challenge in nowadays for the AI in economic forecasting and policy making, I found that the backdrop. I interviewed the experts in Thailand, allowed for 10 experts, and they all say the backdrop is the most challenge for adopt AI in economic forecasting because it's a challenge for trust. Many advanced AI models are backbone, like for the ChatGPT, like for the Google Gemini. We cannot know how they develop. We know the concept, but we don't know how the data collects for something like that. So the backbone of AI is mean difficult to understand why a particular forecast or recommendation is made. That from interview for the expert in Thailand for 10 experts, they all say this is the most issue in nowadays, that they cannot rely for the using the machine learning and AI for forecasting only. So how the solution? They suggest that use the explainable AI, or short for the XAI, for the making decision understandable and human in the loop. The last one. More than 90% of the survey from the experts in Thailand, they say they still need the human in the loop to work together with the AI algorithm, because they cannot rely on solely for the AI. As I already told you, the challenge for the backdrop. So human in the loop is the most important that they use in nowadays for you, the human experts, validating the AI output. This is the solution that I found from the interview and for the survey. And okay, oh, wait a minute. Okay. And for the real-time updates beyond slow reports. Now I want to tell you what I found from the interview survey, for the expert survey. The benefits that the reason why experts will open mind to adopt AI. The most important reason about for the real-time update. They said when use the AI, they can reduce the cost and also for the time consuming. Like they can adjust from the traditional indicator to the real-time insight update or something like that. And insight from the digital footprint. If you want to follow my frameworks, you can follow this framework also, that for a data source, you may be used for the online retail data and for the payment transaction and consumer search behavior and trend, and for social media discussion and sentiment. And then we can use AI application like for the forecast and consumer confidence index and for the shift in spending habits. Okay, and now I want to tell you for the case study that I found from the China. I use content analysis. It means for the qualitative research method to analyze the exit literature. And then I using for the semi-structure interview to interview the experts that related for the China and they're living in the Thailand. We found China in nowadays, it can consider for the data-driven economic powerhouse. They use the policy for the top to down, the nation strategy. It means strong government emphasis and investment in AI and big data for national development. And then the China government, they use the unparalleled volume due to large population and extensive digitalization and integrated government. And in China in nowadays, they use the policy as for the centralized approach for the data collection. It means they use for the unified data collection and analysis across government agencies. And they set for the goal to enhance economic forecasting, refine policy making, and improve governmental efficiency and control. This is what I found from the content analysis for the how China government adopt the AI and the machine learning for the economic forecasting. And I found that they adopt for the policy for the data-driven economic powerhouse, that they adopt for top-down national strategy, and they set the goal with the policy for data collection for the centralized approach. And this one, the China Foundation, Technology and Data Ecosystem. I think the one factor that you may have a question for the satellite imagery. This is what I found when I study about for the China policy on for the economic forecasting using AI and machine learning. I found that in nowadays for the China government, they use satellite imagery that powered by AI and machine learning to analyze the real time. For example, for the agricultural monitoring, urban development, and industrial activity. And then they make policy for something like that. They use for the machine learning for the consumption tracking, for the online retail data. they have for the big data agency to analyze the industrial production that you can see the policy making in China. They identify specific region and industry for precise intervention, and they're simulating policy impact for optimal fiscal and monetary outcome. And for the industrial planning, they're guiding investment in the strategic sector and promoting upgrading. And for urban development, they use data for the data-driven decision for city development and resort management. And for the risk management, they're using machine learning for identify the systematic, financial, and economic. And this is for the concrete example from China. They form the National Big Data Platform to integrating data from various government agencies for unified analysis. And they have the project called the City Blend Project that they adopt for the AI for urban management. For example, in the Hangzhou city, the Advino for the Alibaba headquarters also located in Hangzhou. And for the I mean for the National Bank of China, they also use for the big data for monitoring financial risk, for the tracking capital flow and informing monetary policy. And for the industrial internet, that I already told you that for the framework we can use IoT. So in China also, they use IoT connected equipment for production optimization and predictive maintenance, and they create the policy for the social credit system that they can collect economic behavioral data indication for credit worthiness and market touch. But you need to know that for the social credit system for China government, it still have for the data, I mean for data ethics and for the data privacy problem in the Western perspective. For as we know, USA and also for the EU, I mean for the Western country, also have a question about how transparent for the social credit data and also for the privacy. That also for the challenge for China in nowadays in the global perspective. Okay, and you can know that for the how AI adopt in China and how reflect to economy. Okay, so I want to conclude like for the framework. Okay, if you use the data for with AI and machine learning in the policy making, then the first one, you need the evidence-based policy. A second one, you need to know about policy cycle integration. For example, you need to know application across all states, from agenda setting, formulation, decision making, implementation, and evaluation. And you need to make sure that for the data, all states have the policy for the transparency. And then the third one, for the policy simulation, you can use AI model simulate potential impact of different policy choice before implementation. And for the government can use this to adjust the policy dynamically in response to real-time change. So the policy cycle enhanced by AI, how? Moving from intuition-based to data-driven government across all stages of policy development and implementation. And for stage 1 and 2, we need to identify issue and developing option, agenda setting, and then policy formulation, and then decision making and implementation. So I hope you all can understand what I said. Okay, and in the conclusion, we can use the AI and the big data to adopt in the economic government, but we need to know first about for the foundation technology, and we need to know about for the unprecedented capability. For example, for real-time monitoring, predictive accuracy. And in this presentation, I use China as case study that you can see how China adopt AI and machine learning with the big data to reflect its economy. Okay, thank you very